A word for our listeners. Achtung Cthulhu is set in the 1930s and 40s. We will be using terms and sayings from those times, including some that could be considered offensive. It is not our intention to offend. We merely wish to offer as accurate a view of the time period as possible. Welcome to Masks of Nyarlathotep, a Nerd's Domain gaming podcast. Join us each week as our investigators uncover the corruption of the mythos in World War II. Starring George Chimples, Phil Durham, Rob Walker, Jestin Kimmet, Shirley Niedzwiecki, and Scott Troiano, with Matt Quiett running the table as the keeper. Eldritch evils and crazed Nazi cultists await you just beyond this music.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Nerds Domain Presents Masks of Nyarlathotep. I'm Matt, and I'm here with Shirley.
Hello. And
we are doing a special little side quest for Shirley. This is actually her character Evelyn October from the Achtung Cthulhu storyline. This is going to take place between Season 1 and Season 2, so you just heard the Season 1 creation sessions last week. This is Evelyn doing something with some things before we get into Season 2. And we're actually going to cover a little bit of the time span for her so that she has time to read books if she'd like to and get to know them and understand them and so on and so forth. So, Shirley, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay, so you and the group have just come back from Mexico, where from the boat, I guess, because that was really the big plus part. Your intention was to read the journal and get to know it and understand it correctly. Yes. And this is the journal of Lord Wilkerson.
Lord Wilkerson.
Earl Wilkerson. Lord Wilkerson, Earl of Sandwich. Mm-hmm. And then, did you want to read some of the other books as well, or just that one?
I believe I was trying to get a feel for exactly what was going on, what we might come up against. So I was trying to read anything that I felt would be helpful to the party. Okay.
In
that way.
What's your Cthulhu mythos at?
My Cthulhu mythos is 12.
Okay.
But I think that's because the before.
Yeah. So we've actually recorded this once before. We lost it, and we are re-recording it to keep you guys on schedule or on the same level as where we're at. But let's talk about what that looks like. So you have the train ride back, back to the D.C. area. You're going to report in at FBI headquarters with what's going on. Or I'm sorry, no, you report in back with the FBI. Yeah, that's right. And during that train ride, though, you're going to take the time to read over the book. And are you making a copy of it for yourself? Is that the intention, is to write it down as you're going?
Yeah, I think we had made the decision that right after I found the journal, I started making a copy of it because I knew that I would have to check it in with the FBI before I left to go to Miskatonic.
Okay, so you spend your time really copying it. There's a lot there, so it's really a focus work for you to get it done. You'll use a little bit of shorthand. Just to make sure you have all the information there. You make notes quickly. The basics of it, and so you copy it. You guys have already done the FBI stuff. You do finish up with it. You get a couple of chances afterwards before you go to Miskatonic over the next couple of weeks while they're debriefing you and preparing you to really get back into the book as well. They let you have access to it, but not leave the property with it.
Right.
So basically, it is the Journal of Wilkerson, of Reginald Winthrop Wilkerson III. He is, the journal starts in 1929. Looks like this is the first bit that he has begun to write. And at the time that you guys were doing this last investigation, when you went to Mexico, it was 37. So this is a period of 8 years that he has really written about. He mentions, he alludes to a previous journal that you do not have.
Okay.
I wrote earlier, or the last time I talked about this, stuff that you aren't seeing here.
Right.
So he speaks vaguely of the time he met Nitocris, because it was something that he wrote about before. It's very clear that he is deeply in love with Nitocris, who you have met before. Her name is Tahira. That's the name she's going by as a mortal. She is actually a character, someone from.
Does it say that in the journal?
That her name is.
Or does it just?
He calls her both.
Her?
He calls her both Nitocris and Tahira, and
Okay.
after reading it for a while, you realize they're the same person.
Okay.
So he spends his time speaking of her. He mentions their marriage, how important that is to him, the things he's learning. Trying to think of anything else that really he touches on there. It really comes down to
The Sons of the Sun. He talked about going to Mexico. Did he talk about going to Mexico?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. That may be a note from our previous recording session that I don't remember where I was going with that, but he does mention a group in Germany that he has become involved with called the Black Sun, or he calls it the Thule Society, and mentions the upper echelons call themselves the Black Sun. He does mention a gentleman named Weissler, who seems to head the Black Sun, very, very focused gentleman. He also mentions one of Weissler's priors, or priors, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, basically one of his lieutenants in the organization, a Nina Wolf, who does a lot of the digging for Weissler. Wilkerson does talk quite a bit about being on digs with Weissler, or with Wolf and Tahira, especially anytime they go to Egypt. Tahira doesn't always know where everything is, as far as things that, like, she's like, oh, we should go dig over here, and has a general sense of where they should dig, and that's where you guys go.
So when you're talking about when in the journal and referring to Tahira and the digs and how she kind of knows the general vicinity, I would come to know that she isn't all omniscient.
No, she is not, but she knows the past of Egypt specifically, which makes her, so she knows where people were buried that those burial grounds have not been found at all. If that makes sense. So, like,
right.
they're definitely old as far as that goes, and they're only before a certain period. But she is not omniscient. She's powerful. Some of the things. Well, first, it's clear that Wilkerson was resurrected by her.
Right.
So there are some powers that she has that you've never heard of, and you didn't think people could do things like that. Setting people on fire by touch is a big one.
Okay.
That's terrifying all by itself. But she also can summon creatures and talk to other monsters and things like that.
Okay. In his speakings about her and talking about his resurrection by her, does he ever talk about or does he ever talk about how old she is? Like when she came to be in her powers?
He talks about the 4th dynasty in Egypt. It's a vague time period. We can look at that, the exact time period. But she lived for 40 years, but it's been thousands of years since that.
Okay.
So, you continue to read. The more you read, the more you start to realize that the involvement that he has with the Thule Society is on a very limited basis, but you start to see it grow as he talks about it in his journal.
So I'm actually seeing him meet the Thule Society, progress through it, and even though he is in a relationship with Nitocris, it doesn't give him like supreme being power.
She's actually getting the same treatment he is, as far as she has to go through her steps to get into the Thule Society.
With her power, and as old as she is, does that mean she's putting on some sort of ruse?
Ruse is the right word. No, that means that they're not just letting people in for the fun of it. Like
but why would I just, with the power that she has and what we know of her from the past campaign last year, why would she need to try to get into the Thule Society?
Because you can't just walk up to a society and be like, I'm now one of your higher members. You have to go through the process and go through the initiation and become trusted. It's the same thing that Wilkerson's going through. He doesn't have the ability to cast spells, but he has a true belief, and that has its own value. The fact that she knows a lot of spells doesn't mean anything. That means that she's from somewhere else where they taught her a bunch of stuff. What is that? Can she be trusted? It's clear that she does not reveal herself as Nitocris. She's Tahira, an Egyptian.
So it is a bit of a ruse from her.
It's a ruse as much as
because she's Nitocris.
Well, yeah, no, she does not reveal that as a whole.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But that's what I was trying to get at, because in his journal he's revealed her as Nitocris, and then when I talk to Evie, like, more of that's going to be revealed.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, so with her, I guess I'm just a little confused, because she's an all-powerful being from.
She's not all-powerful.
A mostly powerful being from the fourth dynasty of Egypt, yet she's going through these petty mortal.
She's still mortal.
Dealings to.
Okay, so your issue is you think that she's this powerful being and she should just take over?
Yes.
How is that going to gain her trust and be able to put her in a position where she can command people without having to be on top of them? It's very clear in the journal that she's calm and collected and calculating.
Right.
So pretending
she's actually working her way into becoming. Yeah, okay.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah. So she and Wilkerson are being initiated into the Thule Society, and then they join the Black Sun. And once he joins the Black Sun, he quits referring to it as the upper echelons of the Thule Society. He starts referring it to it as a group that just happens to be in the Thule Society. More of the Black Sun exists, the Thule Society exists, but the Black Sun uses the Thule Society as a smoke screen, and they just don't tell everybody in the Thule Society what's actually going on.
That's what's going on. Okay, yeah. So then my next question is, whomever she is in contact with, and it's not Nyarlathotep, is it?
What do you mean in contact with?
Well, I mean, she's like this all-powerful priestess that's been around for a really long time. So she's slowly taking over the Thule Society for this greater deed.
So step one, don't think of her as all-powerful. That's not the way that
she's a powerful priestess.
She's powerful, but not all-powerful. All-powerful is too much.
Right.
She's joining something that is going to be dealing directly with the Cthulhu mythos. Mm-hmm. She was dedicated to Nyarlathotep, but as your character doesn't know, but just for the rules or the way it's set up, Nyarlathotep is Hermes of the Cthulhu mythos.
Okay.
He's powerful all by himself, and yeah, he wants to do terrible things.
But he's a messenger.
But he's the messenger.
Okay.
So, it's like saying, well, she was in contact with Nyarlathotep, so she would never work for anybody. She would work for anybody else. And by working for them, Nyarlathotep is one of the few that she can work for Cthulhu and Nyarlathotep, and there not be an issue. Because Nyarlathotep may be serving that same process.
Right. I guess I was just wondering, did she come here with a bigger
there is
mission
from
a higher power?
No. There's some hints that she is trying to acquaint herself with the world as far as that goes, if that makes sense. Like, she
Right.
wants to know, she sees a potential here for a group within a government. They are connected to the government through the SS, or at least they are eventually. She sees the potential for manipulating the government to do what she wants, but still staying within the Black Sun, because she knows that what they're doing has truth to it. The Black Sun is an actual elder deity.
Right.
So she's fine with that. Like, bringing that forward, that's still fits her plans to begin with.
Okay, so now, because I didn't understand this until right now, so the Black Sun is actually a deity, not just some spot in the sky.
Right. It's actually it's an imprisoned deity.
Evelyn know that from the trip that they took? Would she have gained that knowledge?
No.
Okay.
This is me explaining it to you so that you understand it and you can wrap your head around it to help Evelyn understand it. Really what it comes down to is
in Wilkerson's journal?
That there is a power that they're serving, a great power. He never says deity. He never says great old one or elder god, anything like that.
But he just refers to the Black Sun.
This great power in the Black Sun, and bringing that forth is what's important. He never really goes beyond that.
Okay. Got it.
So, and I'd like you to keep that to yourself as a player as well.
Right.
So that the other players are not
So
aware
when
of
I
it.
get back from talking with Evie, I won't tell my group?
Well, you haven't told them yet, and we've already recorded one of those sessions.
Right.
So, I don't know. We'll see how the talk with Evie goes.
I wish we had downtime actions.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what this is a little bit.
Yeah.
So you get through the journal. It's clear that Wilkerson is not sane. Just the more you read of what his writings are, the things he says he's seen, which you don't doubt necessarily, but the way he praises them.
Right.
There is talk of the Germans using U-boats in direct working with creatures called deep ones, which you don't know anything much about.
Okay.
Something to talk about to
Right.
somebody else. And then there's talks about making sure that the Reich has the magic prowess it needs to further its own goals. Hitler is not a member of the Black Sun, but he is familiar with it and aware of it and has given it his blessing to be within the SS.
Okay.
The leader of the SS, whose name is not coming up in my iPad, is now dead, so I can't really tell you who that is, but the leader of the SS is not a member, but fully supports the Black Sun, and Weissler reports directly to him. There's no one else between them.
Okay.
And by directly supports, I mean he looks at it. The leader of the SS looks at it as one more weapon that the Reich can use. So it's just another division for him. But he sees that there is actual power there. He doesn't want anything to do with it, but he sees that there's actual power there.
Okay.
There comes a point in 1937. Or no, you were in 1937.
Yes.
One of the last entries into the journal is that Nina Wolf has broken away from the Black Sun. Something was given to Weissler from a dig. He cordoned himself away, and Nina Wolf took that time to take over leadership of the Black Sun. She was supposed to. That's fine. But then start in a different path. So the Black Sun is about magic. You're clear about that. Nacht Wolf, which is what Nina Wolf is calling her group, is not about magic. They are about technology and applying things that they've found at these digs in technology.
So immediately when I read this, Evelyn is going to be intelligent enough to say, "Oh, hey, those werewolves."
That's one option. You mean werewolves as in one, right?
The werewolf with the power plates.
Yeah. So
she'll be able to make that
connection. Nacht Wolf is about technology and adapting Atlantean and Hyborian technology to modern technology. So these digs that they've been finding Atlantean and Hyborian information.
They've been finding Atlantean things in Egypt?
And other places. Norway, Sweden, Spain, anywhere that's a little bit near water.
So then once she reads about the technology and Noctwolf focusing on that, she would have made the connection between the werewolf with the power plates.
Yeah, that's pretty clearly Noctwolf. You're not sure about he's mentioned he doesn't mention either thing, but that's pretty clear correlation that was a Noctwolf agent.
Right. Because I thought when we were on the plane or the boat or whatever, there was actually a symbol that was the Noctwolf.
No, that's on a plane that George was fighting a fighter pilot.
Okay. So I haven't seen that symbol yet.
No, you have not.
Okay. And then his last entry?
So the last entry is about his mission to Mexico. So he's supposed to be meeting a Noctwolf agent. The official word and the understanding that the Noctwolf agent has, and that Noctwolf has, they believe at this point that Wilkerson is just willing to serve the Reich. They don't realize how deep he is in with the Black Sun. The Noctwolf agent is supposed to meet him, and he's supposed to escort the Noctwolf agent home. What Wilkerson makes clear is that he's there to assassinate the Noctwolf, to grab the books, and take them home for the Black Sun. These are books that are very important to what the Black Sun is doing. Okay.
And so, does it go into detail about why he's upset about Noctwolf?
So it's about a division of resources. He goes on and on about how there are only so many people, and the Noctwolf has taken some of the better scientists. He goes on essentially saying that Nina's making a foolish mistake, but that Black Sun can't act against her because she's directly under the Führer's protection. So that gives her the ability to do as she sees fit, while the Black Sun can't fight back against her. So essentially any open like missions they have, that those are all going to be divided up between Noctwolf and Black Sun depending on who comes back with what. And how that splits up. Any resources, any digs they find, anything like that, that's all going to be whoever gets to it first. He feels like it's a huge division of the Reich's occult powers, and that it's dangerous and foolish.
Okay.
So that is kind of the last bit there. You translate a bunch of it. There's a lot more insight into Wilkerson as a whole. You as the player know that. Hopefully our listeners have listened to season 1. But if not, you should go back and get to know that character. So you take your time getting a chance to translate, or not translate, copy over as much of the journal as you can.
Yeah, because I want to show it to Evelyn.
Yeah, and then you probably spend a little more time cleaning it up after you've done that, because it's a quick copy instead of a clean,
right,
precise one. And then you head to Miskatonic.
Yes. And then were there any books that I definitely had? Because I have written down Courtier's Trifles, The Magnus, Deceptions of the Devil.
Those are the books that he was collecting, the Noctwolf agent.
Okay, but did I grab, or did I grab any of those?
They were handed over to the FBI.
Okay. I'm just wondering, did I end up reading any of those?
No, you wouldn't have had time.
Okay.
So you're heading to Miskatonic?
Yes.
Okay, so you get down there. Evelyn is happy, or Evie is happy to meet you. You've really got to start naming characters different things.
I'm sorry, it just happened that way.
She's happy to meet with you and talk with you about what's going on. So she invites you in. How can I help you?
Well, it's really good to see you again after so long. How have you been?
Cleaning up here. going about things here. We've heard rumors that things went well, or at least things were brought back from Mexico.
Yes, we were able to pick up some books that were able to be helpful, and I also found a journal that I would like to discuss with you. But I just wanted to see how you were doing and if you had found anything of interest through the library in the occult section.
Nothing of note, really. It's the same. It's the same set of books. Dr. Armitage is restricting more and more as things become more and more dangerous. But
so he's just keeping it safe.
Yeah, things that need to be not in public circulation.
Right. And how has your shooting been going?
Fine. I'm as good as ever.
We'll have to go out and shoot before I leave.
Absolutely.
Well, what I did come to discuss, and I hope I'm not overstepping bounds or make you uncomfortable in any way, is amongst the books and the person that we were following, I found this. And I believe it may have been someone that you knew at some time.
So you hand the book to her, or the copy?
Yeah, I scooted over the table, and this is Earl Wilkerson's journal.
When you slide it over, she immediately picks it up and kind of sets it down, because it's just probably a stack of papers that you've made notes in.
Right.
Unless you had a full journal. I don't know if you did or not. Did you?
I think Evelyn would have.
Okay.
Because she's got money.
Then you pick that up. She picks up the book and starts looking through it. And since you've copied it essentially word for word, she reads the first couple of lines, and then you say Earl Wilkerson, and she puts the book down. What about him?
Well, after we tracked down the agent that stole the books from the university, we found him dead in an alley, and then found out that Wilkerson was the cause of that.
Why did he kill the man you were following?
The only reason I can think is for the books. It seemed to be some sort of rival. From what I can guess and what I've read is there are two occult factions that are not supposed to be divided, but are divided due to Wilkerson's belief that they should not be divided.
What?
So there's the Knocked Wolf.
Okay.
Have you heard of them?
No. I can't say that I'm up on many occult groups.
There's the Knocked Wolf, and then there's the Black Sun.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Black Sun?
No.
These are two occult groups. The Black Sun deals directly in magic, and the Knocked Wolf deals in technology, and it seems like they've been going on these digs.
So why are they divided? Because Wilkerson decided they shouldn't be divided.
Because Wilkerson believes that all of the digs that each faction is going on.
But how did he divide them with this decision?
He did not divide them. There is a woman named Nina Wolf who pulled away from the Black Sun and decided to start her own group.
And how is Wilkerson? You're confusing me. How is Wilkerson involved in this at all? Because that's what you came to talk to me about.
Yes.
So I don't understand.
I was wondering what type of information you would have about him previous to the information that I have.
He accompanied me and some others on a journey to look into the death of a friend of ours. You know Professor Weld. The death of a friend of Professor Weld's.
Yes.
That's how I knew Reginald.
And
but he died. So I find it difficult to fathom what he was doing in Mexico. Are you sure this is the same man?
Yes. Were you not staying? I thought when we had talked one time, you said that you were staying with his father and he returned?
There were potentially that might have happened. My days after my journeys are hazy at times.
Ah, okay. Yes, it was confirmed that it was Earl Wilkerson that took his father's place.
So what is it that what information do you think I can give you?
There is a woman that's with him, that is an occult priestess, and she goes by 2 names, and I was wondering if you had any information on either of them. Theria or Nitocris.
It's Tahira.
Tahira.
I don't know how you got Theria out of that.
Whatever. Tahira or Nitocris.
I'm familiar with who Nitocris is.
Could you give me some information about that person?
She was resurrected by the cult of the Black Pharaoh. There's a group in Egypt, also in London, called the cult of the Black Pharaoh, the Brotherhood of Black Pharaoh, Dark Pharaoh. I don't remember. It's the Pharaoh. It's all a mask for Nyarlathotep.
So,
in an attempt to bring,
go ahead,
some sort of cataclysm together, and she starts holding her head a little.
Are you all right, Evie?
Yes. In an attempt to bring some sort of cataclysm forward, they resurrected Nitocris, who was directly involved with the Pharaoh when he reigned Egypt, and set her on. I don't know what happened with her. We weren't able to stop the resurrection, and it was too late. And we had already lost good men. That's actually where Wilkerson died.
I'm just trying to clear up some facts, and I was hoping that maybe, and I'm sorry if this is causing you any discomfort, we can stop if you'd like. But I was just trying to wrap up the information for the FBI.
Go ahead with your questions, that's fine.
So, you're saying that you found out information that Nitocris was involved with the Black Pharaoh and used Nyarlathotep?
Not used him. She's a priestess of Nyarlathotep. And they reigned together during the 4th dynasty.
Nyarlathotep and
yes, in his
Nitocris.
guise as the Black Pharaoh, the Dark Pharaoh, whatever.
He was disguised as the Black Pharaoh.
Not disguised, in his guise. That Nyarlathotep holds many faces. The bloody tongue, the Black Pharaoh, the bloated woman. He is known by many names and many faces.
Oh, okay.
There was a point in Egypt's history where he ruled over Egypt as well. Hence the title Black Pharaoh.
And during your time in on your travels, had you never heard of the Black Sun?
No.
Okay.
Should I have?
Wilkerson mentions it several times in his journal.
No, we never. No.
Okay.
We never really had anything to do with that. And after he died, I didn't really have much interaction with him.
The book may be a good addition to the secure section of the occult.
What all am I going to read in this?
It starts around 1929.
So several years after he passed and
Yes.
was resurrected.
Yes, and it sounds like Nitocris was the catalyst for his resurrection.
That makes sense.
Why does that make sense?
We left his body there. We couldn't take it with us.
You think that that they got to him in where he was?
He's from a very powerful family in England. That's a quick way to gain power within the British Empire.
Oh, I see.
What is this cult group you're talking about? The Black Sun.
There isn't a full description of it. It just sounds like, from what, and if you read the journal, you'll find out, it just sounds like a very powerful magic group that they're trying to bring to fruition at some point in time. And he refers to Hitler and the Reich as being supporters of these two groups, the Nachtwolf and the Black Sun.
So his views have turned to the Nazis.
Yes.
That's not him. This is some perversion of him that she brought back. Make me a promise that if the FBI sends you and you see him and you have the chance and it makes sense, I don't want to see you die in the process. Remove him from this earth. This isn't him. He's been something. He's been degraded or malformed in his resurrection. He was boastful and harsh, but never a lover of evil.
I will do my best.
So you go to fight these forces. That's what you'll be doing with the FBI, right?
If they decide to have me stay, I haven't heard any word from them. I don't know if I'll be able to help any further. My uncle has gone on and decided to pursue his own ventures, so I don't know if I may go back to my family or what after I report back.
A few pieces of advice, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, I would be happy.
The first I would suggest is that if someone comes up with a cockamamie idea to drive in to a country estate, guns blazing, stop that before it happens.
Did that happen?
Yes. Yes. Our friend Ian had been captured. She, as much as the description she's about to give is grave and dangerous, she seems almost happy about it. Like she's remembering fond memories.
Right.
Our friend Ian had been captured by a priest of the Black Pharaoh, a man named Garnet or something along those lines. He was living at this house in the middle of nowhere, and someone had the idea to drive in and just shoot the place up and get Ian back. We were very lucky. Very, very lucky. I don't know that kind of luck floats around very often.
Would you have been able to get him back any other way?
Stealth is always an option.
Yes.
Stealth and a little bit of deception.
Right.
As much as I may be a cowgirl or was at one point, sneaking around doesn't ever hurt anybody.
Right.
if you find yourself inside a questionable structure, like a pyramid or a temple, something along those lines, and you find a secret room, don't sit on anything or activate anything. Be very careful and make sure your friends do as well. It's one of the last things I remember from Egypt.
Sitting on something?
No, someone else sitting on something and activating and seeing something terrible. And protect your friends. Don't leave their bodies behind. One of them may end up being resurrected and used as a puppet. And she kind of says that like a tear kind of just rolls down her face, and she doesn't seem to acknowledge it at all. She just stoically sits there.
I'll do my best. And she gives her hanky.
She doesn't take it. It's like she ignores it like it isn't there.
Wow.
These are dangerous people, and you should deal with them carefully. Don't allow yourself to be pulled in. I watched a professor become too familiar, and it degraded him and his personality and his views, and made him very dangerous, but not in a man with a gun saving you is dangerous, but in a who knows what he's going to do next, and it could kill us all dangerous way.
How have you kept your distance from being pulled in, as you say, but gathering the knowledge that you have?
Do you, well, you've read a few of those books. Did you ever feel the need to learn a spell and cast it?
No.
Neither have I. The professor didn't see it that way.
Well, at least we have that in common.
Something starts going strange on a ship, lock yourself in your room. If you're on a boat and things try to get in or are attacking the ship, lock yourself in the room and hold a shotgun ready to shoot whatever comes in that door.
As you've taught me.
It's a little different, but yes. And when you feel that your mental state is too fragile, walk away. Come home.
Completely?
Maybe not completely, but enough that you can step away from what is causing you harm. Your health is not just physical, it's mental and emotional as well. Keep that in mind.
Well, I'll make sure to come back here. I've always been fond of school.
I wish you the best in this, but Evelyn, it will only be more danger, and those boys may want the best for you, but you have to help them and not fight them. I know your temperament can be a little headstrong. Mine was for a long while. Might even still be today, but you have to realize you're part of a group, and that group needs to move together evenly and solidly, not halting and disjointed.
I believe that would be something that I did learn on this last endeavor.
Good. This country is going to end up in a war if things don't start changing. If you can help save it and help save the world, do it. If I were of any use, I'd be out there, but I'm not. I know that I'm not.
Well, you have knowledge that may be of use.
I watched too many of my friends pass. I can't do it again. Ian was never the same. Reginald died. Whatever's inhabiting his body isn't him. We lost that professor. He just disappeared. Never found him. Botticello was murdered. Killed in front of me. Only me and Professor Weld made it out safe and mostly sound.
That almost makes me not want to go back.
Oh no, but you must. I know that fear, but think of what will happen without someone standing against it. I'm too old and too fragile now. You're not. That's why we have young men fight wars. and old men sit in command.
Right. Well, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for talking with me about this situation. I know that it was probably hard for you.
I've had worse. Oh, and if you go to Egypt, cover up. The sun is just horrendous.
I will be sure to.
Drink lots of water. Evelyn, just keep the boys from getting themselves into danger, and don't get yourself into danger either.
That seems hard sometimes.
In more danger than need be.
I will.
She kind of stands up and shakes your hand. She leaves the book on her desk and not escorts you, walks you out to the door and all the way out of the library, even just chatting nicely about whatever
different things.
Yeah, and that's kind of that. Anything else you wanted to do?
Let me take a look at my character sheet. No, I think that basically covered all of the information that we had about the journal and the questions that I had about what was in it.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, that will do this episode of Masks of Nyarlathotep. Next week we officially start
Season 2?
Not Season 2. Chapter 2 of Season 2. So keep in mind also that this episode was recorded after we recorded that and way after we recorded this originally, and I just can't find that file. I don't know what happened to it. So let us know what you guys think. All of our contact information is in the exit, and we will talk to you guys real soon.
And that will do it for us tonight on the Nerds Domain presents Masks of Nyarlathotep. Remember, you can email us at nerdsdomain@gmail.com or find us on facebook.com/nerdsdomain, on Twitter @nerdsdomain, or over at our site nerdsdom.com. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter while you're there. You can head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. We want to thank Josh Schock for our music. Don't forget you can support us at patreon.com/nerdsdomain. And check out our shirts at slashloot.com.